Okay guys, we're back for Green Island, El Morro Bay, Rattlesnake Bay, and Bird Island. This is going to be Bird Island Part 3. So on this one, we're going to discuss on what I did when I was out there when we had 40+ mile-an-hour winds. So let's take a look at this. So the winds were over 40 miles an hour. So I put in at Tomei, shot all the way down, went right around Bird Island, went straight up the gut. At the between the second and third leaning tower, I hung a left and started drifting in the grass flats out there. So this was a very challenging day because it was a cloudy day and the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour with 50-mile-an-hour wind gust out on the lower Laguna Madre. So it makes it challenging to fish in the flat. So let's take a look at this and let's see. Here we are at Tomei putting it in. And we're getting ready to take off here. The water doesn't look too bad right there, but you're going to see as I take off, I'm going to skirt the left side of the channel because I want to try to stay in as shallow water as possible. So the ride will be as smooth as possible because like I say, that's a flats boat. It's a flat bottom boat. It doesn't do the chop real well. I mean, it'll beat you to death, pound you to death in it. So I'm going to skirt right along the left side of the channel all the way out to Bird Island, and then we'll skip right across the intercoastal waterway and go right around the south side of Bird Island, and then I'm going to shoot down that old gut, and I'm going to go out about halfway between the second and third leaning tower, and then I'm going to hang a left, and we're going to drift those grass flats behind Bird Island to Green Island. And we're going to move along pretty quickly today because you're going to see the wind's going to blow, and when I end the day you're going to see how far I drifted. And you got to remember, so this time right now it's about the same time that I always put in. You're talking about 10:30, about between 10 and 10:30. As you can see, the sun's already up, so it's right around that time. And by the time I get out there, it'll be almost close to 11, you know, probably about 10:45, 10:50, where I'm going to pick my spot. But this is going to show your skill set on days like this to find the fish. The water is all churned up because the wind has been blowing really heavy out of the south. And like I say, a normal day down there in the valley in the spring and summer months and into the fall until the wind turns from the north, you're talking it generally blows anywhere between 20 to 30 miles an hour. That's just an average day every day. This day it was blowing double that when I put in. And I knew the wind was blowing, but I figured heck, I'd go out and give it a try and see, you know, if I can make something happen. And it did. It paid off. We did really well. But what I didn't do is I didn't fish in any of the churned up water. As you can see, well, the water's always murky there in the channel, but as we shoot out, you'll see where I normally fish, the water's churned up. So we had to go a little bit further to find clear water. And that's what I was looking for. I'd already anticipated this, and I was thinking that I would fish deep into the grass flats, close to almost where it comes close to the sand flats, right along that edge. And I was thinking that would be the spot, and it paid off. We took an educated guess, Cassie and me, and it paid off for us that day. So as you can see, it's a good high tide. It's fairly good. Actually, it's receding. You see where the water is coming back, so it was supposed to have been a high tide when I put in at that time, but it looks like the low tide was already started. So the low tide was already starting to take over, and the tide was going out instead of coming in. And you can see how much has come back from the bank there, the water line. See there, you can tell right there too. So that was going to be another challenge, but like I said in the previous video, It doesn't have to necessarily be high tide. As long as you can get out there at the changing of the tide and get set up, you're going to catch fish. The fish are going to be moving. And on a day like today, or a day like that day was, it was very challenging to catch fish because the wind was blowing 45 miles an hour with 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So you were really going to have to work it and stick to your plan to, follow through. Because if you gave up, then yeah, of course you're not going to catch anything. So we're determined to try it out and just see how good our skills are here. As you can see, you see how the boat's already porpoising some, it's bouncing, and we're just in the channel. We're not even out in the bay yet. So I know it's going to be a rough ride. So that's why I wouldn't even anticipate going to like 3 Islands or any place like that, because the ride was going to be too rough. I would have to skirt out, go across, hit the flats, and then go up to the flats to get out to 3 Islands. But I didn't want to go that far. I just wanted to go to my creature of habit, so I'm going to go out behind Bird Island and I'm going to drift it right off the bat. That's what I'm going to do. But like I say, barges are always sitting up and down the intercoastal inside the Arroyo, either waiting to go into port in Harlingen or go down to port in Brownsville, or just waiting for other ones to pass by so they can get back out and use the channel. But still, it was a beautiful day on the Lower Laguna Madre. Even though it was windy, cloudy, and everything was working against us, it was still a beautiful day to go out. And let's go catch some redfish. So things that I talked about before in the other video, just little things. I talked about oil slicks in water. That's where you want to fish, because game fish will be around those oil slicks that bait fish leave behind. You watch the movement in the water, and then you'll be able to see where the bait fish are moving. Then you know something's chasing them, and you can fish in those areas. Other little telltale signs are you can watch the birds. Birds usually feed on bait fish, and when birds are feeding on bait fish, the game fish are going to be right in behind them, feeding on them too. So if you see birds feeding in the water on bait fish, then that's always a good spot to go and fish around that area too, because you're going to catch some game fish there, whether they're trout or redfish. It's a little bit more thing. So here's the marker. We're getting close to the Y. It's up there a little ways. But let's get back to the oil slicks. A lot of times I fish the oil slicks. So when I get into the flats, I look for oil slicks. I love, when I see those, I'm going to get in the middle of those and drift through them, because those are always good prime red spots. Another thing too is where you see stingrays, and where you see schools of stingrays. Schools of stingrays out in the grass flats moving around. Reds are usually not too far behind them, because the schools of stingrays are chasing after bait fish, and then the reds come in right behind them, let them do all the work, and then the reds take the spoils of it. So if you see big schools of stingrays, don't get dismayed. That's a good sign that there's going to be redfish in the area. So that's just another good little tidbit. Things that I've learned over the years. Look how rough it is. Cassie's hanging on there somewhere. I think she's down there below my feet, if I remember right. She was trying to stay under cover because the wind was blowing so much. So here we are. We're getting out. You see Bird Islands right off of the port side of the bow there. in front of us. So we're hitting the Y right there, the mouth of the Royal, where it Y's off. You can either Y to the left to go north to Port Mansfield, or you Y to the south to go to the island. And all I'm going to do is cut right across there on the south side of Bird Island, and I'm going to shoot up that gut. And I'm going to go one leaning post, two leaning posts, and halfway through the second leaning post is where I'm going to turn to the left and go out to the grass flats behind Bird Island. So this is deep into the grass flats behind Bird Island, way past Tommy's hole. We're talking it's about 2/3 of the way to the island. That's how far out I'm going to go. We're taking such a pounding. Look at the GoPro camera. The GoPro camera turned to the side because the boat was pounding so much. At least it gives you a good view of Bird Island there. Like I say, no big secrets here, man. I'm a creature of habit. Put in at Tolmay Park, and right off the bat, where do I go? Boom, straight out behind Bird Island. But look how the water's turned up real bad. Look how brown it is. I mean, that wind was blowing. You're talking 40+ mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It was howling. So I wasn't going to stop right there and try to fish anywhere there because the water was just too churned up. I was going to keep riding the boat until I saw clear water, and then that's where I was going to stop and drift it. And I was going to drift in the clear water. So however far back I got to go, that's how far I'm going to go until the water turns clear. So that's what I do here. I just stay on it and I keep going until the water turns clear, and it ended up being about 2/3 of the way to the island before the water was clear in the bay. So we're already passing Bird Island now. We're in the grass flats. See how it's smoothing out. And the further back you go, the shallower the water gets. So the boat's going to ride a lot smoother too. As you can see, we're not bouncing as much. But you see, look how the water's all churned up there from that wind. It's not even worth stopping. You can catch them in churned up water. I've caught them before. But this time I'm going to do something different. I'm going to just keep going until I see that the water turns clear. And then that's when we're going to stop. And we're going to start drift fishing. Not enough clarity yet. It's starting to clear up a little bit, but not enough clarity. I want it to be crystal clear. That noise that you hear, that's Cassie snoring. She's sitting right here next to me sleeping. So she's snoring a little bit. So see, we're looking at it. It's clearing up. Nice and clear. We stop. I'm going to turn all the way to the left so that I drift starboard side forward. So I turn my engine all the way to the left. I'm going to throw out my drift sock. I got a 4-foot by 5-foot drift sock that I use. But this day the wind was just blowing so much, it still didn't even hardly slow me down. Because you're going to see at the end of this video, you're going to see how far I drifted in just like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. If it was even that long I was out there. I drifted all the way almost to Port Mansfield. Pretty fast. I mean, that wind was just pushing me along pretty fast. So we're trying to get it to fill up the water. But that drift sock, that thing really comes in handy. I want to buy another one just like it so I can have 2 big ones like that to really slow me down. And I'll hook one on the front of the bow and then one on the back of the bow. I might even get 2 more and do 3 in a row. That would be really something there. You know, have 3 of them. So here I'm just talking about how it's pretty windy, but the water's clear, man. You can't really tell because it's a cloudy day, but I'm on the boat and you can see straight to the bottom. That is clear, crystal clear water right there. Lower Laguna Madre. So I guarantee you, since the wind's blowing so much, there won't be any drone footage on this video. There's no way I'd set the drone up in that kind of wind. I'd end up losing it. So what I'm talking about there is basically I wanted to drift back into Bird Island because the wind was supposed to be coming out of the southeast, but that wasn't the case. By the time I got out there, the wind was coming directly out of the south. So instead of blowing me and drifting me back to Bird Island like I had planned, it's blowing me and drifting me parallel with Bird Island and the grass flats. So I'm going parallel between Bird Island and Padre Island. Basically going due north is how I'm drifting. So we're going to try it out. And I think right off the bat, I have live shrimp because I had to go down to Port Isabel to get it on this trip because Jerry didn't have any. So I swung by Port Isabel and picked it up down there at I forget whatever that tackle shop, that bait shop is there, right there on Highway 100. And I'm going to start with the bunker. So right off the bat, I'm going to start with artificial. I'm going to use my old 430 SS, my 1968 430 SS pin reel, and a bunker wake bait is what I'm going to use. And look at this. Right off the bat, I think like the third or fourth cast in, I hook up. But I don't set the hook and I lose him. I don't get him in. Now you see all those little white streaks in the water? You see them? Those are oil slicks from bait fish running. And you see how I'm in the middle of them? There's a bunch of them. They go all across there. And they're oil slicks from a lot of bait fish that had moved through there before I had shown up there. So that's giving me good signs right there that I'm going to be on the reds. I'm going to find redfish in here because they're going to be following the scent of these oil slicks looking for the bait. And I don't have to wait long. You're going to see right here, but I don't set the hook. I get him up to the boat and I lose this one. This one I don't get this one in the boat. And it was a nice size red. Right there. Boom. Right on him. That bunker. That wake bait bunker, man. Them reds eat it up out there in the clear water grass flats. When it's clear water, that bunker, man, that's the best top water I've ever had, man. The redfish just eat that thing up. I wish I had more of them. You can't even get those anymore. Yeah, he spit it out. I didn't get him in it. I didn't set the hook. So that's why I come over and say that I forgot to set the hook. Win some, lose some. Just how it goes. There it is. There's that bunker. I love that topwater lure, man. Especially in the clear water, man. That thing just, I mean, the reds eat that thing up out there. I wish I could get more of them. I screwed up when I bought it. I bought it years ago at Bass Pro. You're talking like, I don't know, 5 years ago I bought it. I never used it. It was just in my tackle box. Never thought much of it. It was on sale. And then here I finally pulled it out and used it, and I saw how the reds eat it up. I go back over to Bass Pro to get it, and they don't even sell it. It's all discontinued, man. They don't sell that line anymore. That one, the redhead, the silver shad. There's three in that series, man. I have all three of them, but I only have one of the silver shad, and I only have one of the bunker. But I bought plenty of the redhead. The redhead, I got like 4 or 5 of those. The redhead works really well, and your more murky green colored water, the darker water, the redhead works better than the gold bunker. But in that clear water, look at that. Those redfish love that bunker, man. Nice little red there. And I don't know. I think that one's like 20, 21, 22, something like that. It might have been 23. I'm sure I'll say here in the video. But look how gold they are. Look at the bronze color. Beautiful. They've been out there in those flats for a long time to get that color. Nice little red. And I want to say basically first half I fished nothing with the bunker, and I want to say I catch 4 or 5 reds on that. We'll see here in this video. I just don't remember. And then at the end of the video, I'm popping the cork. I use a little bit of little ice shrimp. I catch a few off of that one too. But you see the oil slicks all out there in the water right there? Plenty of oil slicks running. That's good prime redfish area right there. You know they're either going to be in that area or right around close to that area, seeking out bait fish. So even though the wind's blowing over 40 miles an hour, look at that, I still catch them. See, you see the streaks? Those are always good signs to be looking for when you're out there fishing in the grass flats. Besides other signs that I've already talked about. This is a nice little red. Probably 22, 23, something like that. I think that day the biggest redfish I caught back there was 25, I believe. Was the biggest that I caught. That beautiful little red. Look at that gold, that bronze color on it. Beautiful redfish. I got stuck there, so I'm picking up the motor a little bit. The skag hit something, so I'm picking it up a little higher.
Skag hit the bottom. We're kind of shallow water.
So we can keep drifting. I think the water I was fishing in there was probably about 18 inches or less, about 15 to 18 inches right there somewhere. It had to be maybe a little bit less than 15 because the skag hit the bottom, so maybe probably 14 inches. You know, but it was pretty shallow. And when I work that bunker, I don't do anything fancy. All I do is throw it out there and I just slow retrieve it, and I let that wake bait do the work for me. It'll make the wake, and you know, and it'll attract the game fish to come to it. So you see that. Well, I was going to show it to you, but you can see the leaning tower in front of the bow of the boat out there behind me.
Nice,
I was already lined out with it. The second leaning tower.
On a windy day. You did a good job there, buddy. Huh?
So I guess maybe that was a 20-inch red? 22-inch red? I don't know. I'm sure I'm telling you there in the video. I just don't remember, but it's a nice little red. Let's see how clear the water is. It doesn't look clear when I'm standing up there. But that water is crystal clear back there, even though the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour.
He's ready. Give him a couple more here, just to make sure.
So we let him go.
That's it. Good job, Cassie. Chica.
Cassie did a good job barking that one out. Time to get on it. Let's get another one.
Slamming some reds, buddy. Good job. That's a bigger one earlier.
So when you think about wind, don't let wind deter you to not go fishing out on the lower Laguna Madre. You can catch the fish in high wind. You just got to work it a little bit harder and pick the correct spots. And by meaning correct spot, like I would not even have tried there where the water was all churned up and everything right there, you know, out at the beginning of the flat. I would rather come further back. That the fish are going to be further back. And sure enough, they were that day. They were back there. There's second throw in, or third throw. This is the third throw. First one he got off. Second one I caught. And here we go. Again, look at this. Watch this. It doesn't take long. I make a couple of casts and then boom. Look at that. That bunker. I don't know what it is, man. But that bunker, man, them redfish eat it up out there. You know? I wish I had more of those guys. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do once that lure, you know, runs its life cycle. I wish I could get more of them. And I've been looking for a while, and I can't find them anywhere. I can't find them used anywhere. You know, I always hit all these used vintage lure sites on Facebook Marketplace, and those aren't in there, man. And I don't get it. To me, it's the best wake bait that Bass Pro ever put out for saltwater, and they don't even make it anymore. That's what just doesn't gets me, man. I mean, it works so good, and they discontinued it. You know, you go over there and they sell you all that other stuff that doesn't even work half as good as this one does. You know, because I've got that whatever it is. I bought the silver and black. Oh man, what is that? This is the one that got the long one that's got the spinner on the back that turns the water. I haven't caught jack with that thing, man. I've thrown that thing out there so many times. It's the same color as this bunker, but it's a different shape. It's more of a torpedo shape, and then it's got a spinner on the back to you know, to kind of make the wake, kind of like how this wake bait has that little flat bill on the front that makes the wake. It just does it off the back of that lure. And the paint's cheap. It's already chipping and falling off, and I haven't even caught anything on that thing. Nothing's hit on that thing, and I've thrown it a lot of times. And no sooner I throw that bunker out there, boom, redfish takes off on it. It hits it. Look at that big old red. That's like a 24 or 25 right there, easy. All in that little bunker wake bait. But you see the oil slick there in the water? That right there? That's what that, see, those reds are out there in that, man. That smell of the bait fish running through there, they're out there, they're in it. And they're you know, they're looking to feed.
I was just telling Cassie she need to get her mojo going because we're ice cold. In a while since we caught one, look at that.
But yeah.
Mark one right up into the boat. Good job, Chica.
You can find them bunkers anywhere. I'd pick them up, man. Cause I don't know if it works any good anywhere else, but I do know for sure down here on the lower Laguna Madre, those redfish eat it up out there, man. Every time I throw that thing, man, I catch fish on that thing. And I only usually got to cast it 1 or 2 times and they hit it, man. Not like some lures where you're out there casting, you know, 15, 20 minutes before something hits it. Man, no sooner you throw that thing in the water, boom, red's on it. I've never caught any trout on that one. I've caught trout on the redhead version of that. That's red and white. I've caught trout on that one out in Peyton's Bay before. But that gold one, the only thing I've ever caught on that golden black one that I'm using right there in this video are redfish. Them redfish eat that damn thing up. And the only time they hit it is they hit it only in the clear water. They don't hit it in the green water or the murky water. I got to use that redhead. The redhead one, they'll hit that one in the murky water, but they won't hit that golden black. It's just weird, man. But out there in the clear water, they eat that thing up, man. So that's the second fish that I got into the boat, but that's the third fish that's hit it. Third redfish within 30 minutes on that bunker right there. It's just unbelievable that Bass Pro doesn't make it anymore, man. You know, so I got a bunch of the redhead version. I just got to find me somebody that makes lures, and I'm going to take the gold one and have them repaint some of those redhead ones into that golden black. So I have a couple extra ones to use out there. Yeah, beautiful red. I just don't have the hook up yet. I'm sure there's somebody around here somewhere that does airbrushing of lures and makes their own lures, and have them make my own version of that one. But you can't get any of them at all. You can't get the redhead, you can't get the shad, and you can't get the bunker. See, it's pretty shallow there, man. It's not that deep. Pretty shallow.
Right now we're in about 20 inches of water. 19 and a half inches of water.
But as you can see, we're right there in the middle of that oil slick. You see how we're right there in the middle of it? We're drifting right through the center of it. And it's paying off. One red right after the other. That big old red. Beautiful. Doesn't get any better than that. When that wind's blowing him up like that. Look how much that wind's blowing.
This morning, so far, I capitalized on 2 reds, one 23, this one 24, and then the other one, which was big too, that I lost, which was the first one that I hooked, and I lost it when I got it up to the boat. I didn't get it in, but it was a nice size like.
It was a great day, man. Even though the wind was blowing over 40 miles an hour.
I'm working extra hard because of the wind, because I'm using Topwater, so you already have, you know, ripples and white caps.
That's Cassie snoring there that you hear.
It makes it a little
She's
bit
snoring a little bit.
that Topwater, because there's already a lot of noise in the water as there is. So what I do is I slow it down, speed it up, slow it down, speed it up, and usually on the slow down, I've noticed that's where the reds have been hitting it. And I've had a couple of more flashes where they flashed on it, on that bunker, laser eye wake bait. But
So it's time to release this one.
didn't do anything. But I've had 3 hookups so far, and 2 that we got in the boat, and 1 got off. But here we go, Chica. Look at this one. Good job, Chica. Good job, little Chica. Put it back in the water.
You can see we're moving pretty fast too. A lot faster than I'd like to be moving. So you can imagine if I could have slowed it down,
Redfish, buddy.
how many more reds were probably in that area that we could have hooked up with.
Healthy. Nice. Got one spot on one side and one on the other. But I don't think they're in the same place. Oh yeah, they are. They're exactly in the same place.
Beautiful redfish.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Beautiful fish. Let's get him going here. Let him go. he goes. And you see their color, it's hard to see them because you see how they're almost camouflaged there with that they almost take on the same color like a chameleon of the grass there. Once they get back in that grass, it's tough to see them. You know, they look almost the same color as that grass. All right, so here we are. We're taking a look here. And I want to say there's a pole in the water. That's what I'm looking at. There's a big old piling right there, right out in front of the boat right there. You see it? Big old piling, like over 20 feet long. You know, that puts you in a world of hurt there. If you come hauling across there, especially at night, and you don't see that thing, and you hit it with your boat, you'd be in a world of hurt. See that big old piling? I'm sure from one of the hurricanes, one of the storms or hurricanes blew it back up in here, that far back up into the flats. So, you know, always remember safety first. You know, be safe. See, look at that. Somebody did mark it right there on one end, but it looks like it's moved a little bit, because you can see how it's gone that way. Look, there it is there. So it's moved a little bit. And that island that's right out there in front of it, that is Green Island. So that ought to show you how fast I've already drifted. I started behind Bird Island, and the wind is blowing so hard, and within 30 minutes, I'm already behind Green Island, drifting in the grass flats. That shows you how fast we're moving. Even though I got my drift sock out, we're still moving pretty fast.
No way you see that out here at night. That thing's huge, man. It's got to be 20.
But always remember safety, guys, when you're out there on the water. Don't take chances. Be aware of your surroundings. You know, I'm not a big person on going fast. I don't like going fast. Granted, in my videos it looks like the boat's going fast, but it's really not. It's just an optical illusion in the camera. You know, with this new motor that I have, it's probably going to ride a lot faster than whatever it did before. Because I just had that little 115 on it, but now it's going to have a 175 on the back. But still, just be safe, man. So, this is how fast that I've moved. Yeah, you see that little island right off of the starboard side of the bow there? That is the big spoil dump that is north of Green Island, right before you get to Port Mansfield. So I've already sailed past Green Island. And that's how far I've gone with this wind blowing me. I mean, we've trucked along. We've probably been out there an hour and a half, and we're already that far north. And I'm going to pick up and move. Is what I'm going to do. And see, there's somebody there. Look at that. Look at that island. So these are all those spoil drops. If you look at this beginning of this video where I showed you the that Google map of the bay there, that's the spoil drops right there. These are north of Green Island, and just south of Port Mansfield are the whole saucer area. You know, that's how fast we drifted that area. I mean, within an hour we were there, man. I don't even think it was an hour. I think it was 40 minutes, and we drifted that fast. So we're going to go around one of these is what we're going to try to do, and drift in between them. I think that's what I was talking about. Because it's a little chain. If you look on the satellite map, you'll be able to see them. You can't miss them, man. You look at Green Island and you just look like north of them, and they're spotted there. There's like 6 of them. you know, side by side in a straight line, because there used to be a gut that used to run right up through there. Back when the Army Corps of Engineers were making the intercoastal waterway, they went through there, because I want to say for gas exploration was what it was, for gas. Natural gas, that is why it was made. So I'm just going to putt along. I'm not going to get up and go. I'm just putting through there because I don't want to scare off the fish. I want to try to see if we could connect with a few more here before we end the day.
Like I said, today's been a hard day today with all this high wind. Trying to find them.
I want to say we catch another one or two there somewhere, I believe. We'll find out here in a minute. We'll take a look, see how this video plays out. As you can see, the water's clear. It's clear. Clear, nice clarity, man. And all that oil slick everywhere. See all that oil slick running through there? Look at all that. Prime area for redfish. Be hanging out in those areas like that. And I want to say I start popping the cork here. I stopped using the bunker, and I figured, heck, I paid all that money for the shrimp because I drove all the way to Port Isabel to get it. I was going to use a little bit of it and try to catch something with it. And I ended up giving it to somebody at the dock at the end of the day anyway. Whatever I did use, I gave it to them because they were heading out, going fishing. It's Cassie's snoring a little bit there, making that noise. Just leave it right here next to me. So I'm not sure what I'm talking about there, but just look at you see the potholes there? Look at the grass, sand, nice. That's prime red area there, man. Reds are gonna be around in that area. Just gotta work it, especially if you work around those spoil drops, you know. What those banks are, that's from them clearing the channel, and they dumped all those there. That when you see all them spoil dumps up and down the intercoastal, those are man-made. They were made by the Army Corps of Engineers back in, I don't know, whatever it is, the 40s and the 50s, whenever they dredged that channel through there. And that's where they dumped the stuff at, that they dredged out of there to make the channel. Made those little islands like that. So I just skirted around it a little bit. I didn't want to really make too much noise because the fishing was pretty good up to that point. And I want to say here I start using live bait. We'll see in this part of the video.
On windy days like this, see there's a spoil drop over there?
Port Mansfield, that's what I'm pointing to, is right out there. Green Island, spoil dumps, all that stuff. Peyton's Bay.
That's what we're doing. We're just working around,
you know.
these spoil drops.
Like I say, once I get the boat going again, well, we'll be all over the bay. I'll be going real far distances like I used to way back in the day. But I just got to make sure that boat's reliable, man. I'm tired of breaking down. See, that's one of the big spoil dumps. I don't know if the boat's going to turn enough. Green Island south of us there.
So the channel's pretty much eroded away and a lot of soot in it, but you can still see where it's at. Alright, so we're going to get back on it.
I want to say here, let's see, am I using live bait now? I think I am. Let's take a look, see what's going on here. Or am I still using the, yeah, if I'm popping it like that, that's cork. That's not the lure. I'm not using a lure. So we switched to live. And we're popping the cork. Like I told you, I don't have a problem. I'll pop the cork or I'll use artificial. It doesn't bother me. I swing either way, man. There it is. Boom. On nice shrimp. Nice little red. And you see this one, I've got the short leader on it. I've got the 6 to 7 inch shock leader on it. See how short it is? Because the water's so shallow that I'm fishing in. Because, like I say, you want your bait to stay in the strike zone when you're fishing, when you're popping that cork. You don't want it to get below the strike zone because it makes it harder to catch a game fish. Generally, what's going to eat it up most of the time is going to be the hardheads, the saltwater catfish, because they're sitting on the bottom there, and you throw it, it's touching bottom, and boom, they're all over it. But in the shallower water, that's what I use. I use a real short shock leader, and as you can see, it's that Cajun back bay thunder Cajun rig. What I've used many variations of that type of rig because there's all kinds of variations that people make. But I find that one so far the best because what I like about it is it uses a stiff wire that runs through the center of the cork. All the other ones use a cable, you know, and the cable is too flexible. It leaves too much slack. So when you try to set the hook, it's hard to set the hook because of that cable and the slack, and you miss it a lot of times. You'll miss setting the hook, and you'll lose the fish. So I prefer the back bay thunder. I prefer the orange version of that because it's the most visible on the water. I've used them all. I've used the pink, the lime green, the green, and the orange. And out of all of them, the orange is the best because you'd be surprised when you're out there and the sun's setting. You can't see the other ones. You can't because if the water's green, you're not going to see the green one. It's just not going to show up, man. You know, and you can't see the pink that well, or even the lime green, because if the water's green, you're not going to see it. And when the sun's out too, you have the same problem, man, with it, with visibility on it. The one that has the best visibility is the orange variety of that series. You can always see it, whether day or night. You can see it. It's easy to spot in the water. More so than the other ones are. That's the only reason why I prefer using it. So I'm sure I'll say how big that one is. I don't know. I think it's probably, I don't know, 21, 22, something like that. I don't remember. Let's see. Maybe it's bigger. I'm sure I'll say in the video. But it's a beautiful red, though. Look at it. Look how bronze they are. All of them are bronze. They've been out there in those flats for a while. Look at that beautiful bronze color on that red. Beautiful red fish. Look at that.
Perfect size to fillet out.
Nothing like it. Drift fishing the grass flats on the lower Laguna Madre for redfish.
That's the third red we've gotten in the boat, and that's the fourth one that we hit. I lost the first one. When I got him up to the boat, he got off hard to get him in the boat, and then I caught
So where I'm at right there, right now, I am north of the spoil banks, and I am just south of the saucer. That's exactly where I'm at. And I am about, well, I'm right where those spoil banks are, so I'm only about halfway out between the island and the intercoastal. Because if you look on the satellite, you can see where those spoil dumps are, and I'm right there. I'm just right north of them. It's a good area out there. That's before you even get to the hole, the target poles. This is before that. This is the area between the target poles and those spoil dumps. After you get past the target poles, that's when you're in the saucer area. That's where the water starts getting deep. And then it goes into the east cut and all that stuff, where you go to the jetties and all that. So I'm putting them in the live well. I think I'm going to revive him. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Put him in there to revive him a little bit. Let him sit in there for a while, get him revived before I let him go. I want to make sure he's good and aerated.
Yeah. Beautiful day. Like I said, it's been about a month since we've been out actually fishing.
But like I say, there's redfish all over the lower
And
Laguna
we're finding
Madre.
good grass flats.
All
The
over that
wind is
bay.
blowing so hard.
You can catch redfish
I
anywhere
just came
there.
right out behind Bird
That's
Island
one thing
and I
about the
shot
lower Laguna
way
Madre.
out.
It's
Yeah,
full of
went past
redfish. You
First
may not be able to
and
catch
second,
trout
and I was
everywhere
in between the second and
or
third
drum
feeding tower,
everywhere,
way out in
but
the
you can
flats,
catch
and I've
redfish
been on the same
everywhere.
drift. We haven't picked up.
Anywhere in that bay.
Right now, we're just passing.
They're there.
And we're almost past the spoil banks. We're right up on the.
You know, I wish the trout population would get back to like that. Because you used to, back in the day, you could catch trout anywhere. All over the bay too, man. They were all over it. So I'm hoping that eventually it'll get back to those numbers. We got a really good, healthy redfish population in the lower Laguna Madre. The mitigation that they put in place has really worked well for the redfish that the Texas Parks and Wildlife has done. They've done a great job at getting the population up of the redfish. So here we go again. Let's see, I guess I'm popping a cork here too. Yeah, so we're popping a cork. So we're using live bait. Here it is again. Boom, another one. So that was I think 3 or 4, whatever I caught in with the bunker. And then this is 2 on live right now. So that's a total of 5 so far. All in just about a 2-3 hour span. Not too bad, man. And like I'm telling you, if you get out there when the tide changes, that's what you got. You got at least a good 2 hours to really capitalize on it. But you got to already be set up and ready for it. That's a good sized red, I guess. Wow, I never remember I caught that big one like that. Well, that's a little red there. Look at that. Live shrimp, baby. But like I say, I'm a big Soliner guy. I like to fish when the tides are changing. I don't care if it's going from high tide to low tide, from low tide to high tide. I like to go in when the tide is changing. That's what I like. And within that 2.5 hour time frame, you can see you catch them. They're there. But you got to be there and be in place at the time when it's going to happen, because you just got an X amount of time to catch them, that window of opportunity, and you got to capitalize on it. And you can see that day the wind was blowing 40 plus mile an hour with 50 mile an hour wind gust, and I went out at a tide changing time, and look at that, and I still caught the redfish. So that ought to show you that science behind that does work. Whoever came up with that Soliner chart and the fish by it, they are pretty smart, man. Because like I'm telling you, back in the day, I was always just a high tide guy. I'd only go fishing at high tide. That's the only time I'd go out, and I did good. I mean, I always did good at high tide. High tide is good, but I've caught more fish in a short amount of time, just going in when the tides change and setting up right before they start moving. So in a short amount of time, I've caught a lot of fish instead of having to spend 8-10 hours out there on the water to get your limit. You know what I mean? I only have to spend a couple hours and boom, you're already back at the house. You know, and I stay just because for my love of fishing. Because as you see, I let these fish go. Most of the time, I let them go. I keep very few of them. I think that day I only kept 2. That's all I kept. I kept 2 reds. and the rest I sent back. That's all I kept that day. Let's see, Cassie barked up another nice one there. Another nice redfish. Let's see, let's take a look at this beauty. Yeah, it's a beautiful fish. Yeah, beautiful fish. Nice, look at that. That's a nice red right there. Live shrimp popping the cork on the Lower Laguna Madre. Beautiful color, nice bronze. Been out there in the flats for a good while to get that color. So like I said in the other video, when it comes to fishing, there is no correct way to fish. I mean, safety-wise, yes, there is a correct way when it comes to safety. But technique and skill set, no. Everybody has their own technique. Everybody develops their own skill set. What doesn't change is safety. Making sure you hook your hook in your pole instead of hooking it in your hand and letting it hang out there. You know what I'm saying? Safety, just safety. That's basic rules, you know. But when it comes to that development of the fisherman has to, how should I say, it's an individual, it's on an individual basis. The fisherman develops their own technique and develops their own skill set. You can watch other people catch fish, like you can watch me catch fish, and you can take this and take that, and it may work for you and it may not, because you have to develop your own skill set. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see that everybody has their own skill set and they have their own way that they catch fish, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beauty of fishing. You know, we're all individuals, and you know, we each go out there and we try to, how should I say, we develop our own skill set, and the more we do it, the better you're going to get. The more you fish, the better you're going to get. Bottom line, if you're only fishing once or twice a year, then yeah, then you better go to one of those charter guys and have them take you where the fish are, because you're not going to go anywhere. But you're going to see, the more you go out there, the better you're going to get at fishing, the better you're going to get at reading the water, the better you're going to get at seeing the signs, the telltale signs of where the fish are. And you're not going to need like this. What's these guys over that Florida group, Salt Strong or whatever it is? They got thousands of members where they give them these GPS locations. I don't fish any, even though I got a GPS there, you see that on the boat? I don't lock in any GPS where I'm at to go and fish that place again. I'm not a GPS fishing guy. I go where I think they're going to be, and that's where I set up and I go. And you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm spot on, because I've been doing it for so long. I mean, yeah, I have misses. There's been days that I've been out there and I haven't caught anything, not even hardheads, you know? And usually those days are only when there's a lot of fresh water in the bay. That's usually when I have trouble. And I usually don't go out far enough. So I know next time that when I do have a lot of fresh water in the bay, I'm going to go a lot further than what I normally did to find them. But generally, I catch them right there, man. So look how far I am. Look at this. These are the spoil drops right here. Green Island's way over there off to the right. Look how far we drifted. In just about I want to say, well, I only fished about 2 to 3 hours. That was it. If even that. We drifted already almost to Port Mansfield, man. That's how much the wind was blowing. So these are those spoil dumps right here, and you can see Green Island. You can barely see it on the horizon off of the starboard side of the boat there on the front. That big block that you can barely see way out there. Not the one that's directly in front, but the one that's off to the right. I'm going to pass this little island, and then you'll see we'll start getting closer to Green Island, and it'll come into view. And the boat actually ran well that day. I'd had problems with it prior to that, but that day, that engine was spot on, man. And then I think right after that, the next time I put it in, I had nothing but trouble with it. I mean, it's just how it goes sometimes. But it was another beautiful day. I'd rather be out there on a 50-mile-an-hour plus windy day chasing the reds in the flats than to be at home sitting around. So, like I say, see, now you can see Green Island. Look how far north I am of Green Island that we went. And we got to remember, we started drift fishing at Bird Island, behind Bird Island, running parallel. And in about 2.5 to 3 hours, it pushes all that far north. The wind did. That's how fast we were moving in the drift. And we did well at whatever we caught, like 5 reds, I think. We caught 5 reds there, 5 nice reds. Maybe more, I don't remember, but I think it was about 5 or 6, something like that. So we're going to head back. And we're going to head in. So, takeaways. Like I say, there's no rocket science, man. You're not building a mission to Mars out there, man. Everybody gets all this, get too scientific on it. Just keep it to the basics. Read the signs. All you have to do is watch what's moving in the water. That day, it was tough to see what was moving in the water because the wind was blowing so much. So how I lined up is I followed the oil slicks. That's how I did it. So let me just put that in there too, a little tidbit. When I first parked, I saw the oil slicks in the water, and I parked right in the middle of them is where I started, and I drifted right through that big oil slick all the way to almost to Port Mansfield. And right inside that zone, that oil slick zone, the reds were there, man. As you can see, we caught them. Cassie and me. She marked them right up into the boat. So here we are. We're heading back in. I just clipped it from there to, you just saw we passed the leaning post. That's Bird Island right there on the right. The mouth of the Royal is right in front of us. And we're going to be heading back. You know, and this is drawing down. So, like I say, go out, enjoy yourself, have a good time. And I'm going to tell you, the more you go, the more you fish, the better you're going to become. And you'll see, you're going to become a better fisherman. Don't get discouraged. You just keep at it, and you're going to see it's going to pay off. You know, and you're going to have a good time out there in the Lower Laguna Madre. I love making these videos. You know, I don't have no monetary in any of this or anything. I just make them because I want people to enjoy the Lower Laguna Madre. We'll talk to you later. You have a good day. Bye.